I first became interested in aviation in high school. And I had a friend who had a friend who owned an aircraft up at Auburn Airport, just east of Sacramento. And they agreed to take me up for a flight, and got to go on a flight, and I was kind of hooked on aviation. That's the career that I think in my own mind, chose that I wanted to do. After we landed that day, I actually saw a CHP helicopter fly in, and thought, oh wow, that's pretty cool. Big black and white helicopter. But it wasn't until I actually joined the Highway Patrol that I actually pursued the helicopter side of aviation. So after I joined the Highway Patrol, I was working graveyard shift while I was able to get my private license. And that took about 4 months, and I was flying 6 days a week and studying. And then after I passed my private license, I took 2 months off and went down to LA and obtained my commercial and my instrument rating. I was able to get picked up by Golden Gate Division, which is based out of Napa Airport. I've been involved in approximately 50 rescues. No two rescues are the same. So on this particular day, I had just got to work, and weather was pretty bad. When I first came in, it was raining real heavily. Our visibility was limited to less than 2 miles. The call came out about 6 o'clock, which is when the night shift starts our shift in Napa. The time of night played a huge role, so it was very time sensitive, the entire mission. It was getting dark out. It was about dusk. It was hard to tell because the entire bay was overcast. So my partner and I, we launched and headed towards the call. Now, weather was still pretty bad to where you couldn't go direct. You couldn't go over the hills of Marin. We had to go through the Golden Gate Bridge area where the cloud layer typically is a little bit higher. There's no mountain terrain that's going to impede our flying to there. But we had to fly south of the scene around Marin and go back up the coast. The entire flight, weather was, the ceiling was around 500 feet, the bottom of the clouds. We arrived about the same time that the fire personnel did. As we got real close to the scene, we noticed that the tide was coming up. There was no suitable landing area for the helicopter on the beach because of the beach deteriorating. Just a little bit of a flat spot towards the cliff, but not enough for the helicopter to fit the entire skids down on the beach. So the only option was to do this tow-in maneuver with a tailwind right up the tail of the helicopter. Time was of the essence. They were even for the fire department to get back to the cliff where they could climb up 2 miles north of the scene. The tide was coming in that they had to hurry, but the water was actually, with the tide, it was coming up to underneath the helicopter. I mean, my flight officer, Sean Bouye, he had to exit the helicopter, make his way over to the victim who had sustained a major leg injury. He and other fire medical personnel were able to package her up, stabilize the patient so that she was ready for transport. The fire department and my medic were able to load her into the helicopter. We flew her to John Muir Medical Hospital in Concord, but we had to leave the same way we came. We had to follow the shoreline all the way down to the Golden Gate Bridge and then fly across the bay to Concord. When we were en route to the hospital, it was pretty dark out. We were actually flying with night vision goggles on. So it's kind of funny because I never got into this profession, to law enforcement and to serving, for people to pat me on the back and thank me for what I do. I got in it because I have a passion for what I do. I love what I do. Every day I go to work, I am thankful that I get to do what I do. This particular day, the victim, I could actually hear her inside the helicopter yelling, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." She was very appreciative. It makes me feel good knowing that people care about what we do and are grateful that we're able to save their loved one's life. It's gratifying because it's just one more thing to assure you that you're doing the right thing. You know that you make a difference.